You know how when you think of off-road vehicles, you imagine big Jeeps, monstrous tires, lifted suspensions, roaring engines? Well, what if I told you there are off-road machines so small you've probably never heard of them? Yet some of them can climb rocks, ford streams, or crawl over mud like the giants do. Today, I'll take you on a journey through the weirdest, tiniest off-road vehicles you never knew existed. And by the end, you'll see size is just a number, and sometimes a big illusion. Let's dive in. You might first think, small plus off-road. Joke. But that assumption gets shredded fast once you meet the first of our tiny beasts. So stay with me, especially because the next ones get stranger. Let me start with one of the legends among micro off-roaders, the Delta Yeti. Back in late 1960s Italy, a small company called Delta Special Vehicles in Turin tried something bold. They built a little off-road four-wheeler, open body, canvas roof, but packed a full 4WD system. It was one of the first civilian off-road vehicles in Italy that had steering on all four wheels. Imagine that. A compact frame, kind of boxy steel tube frame outside. It used a Fiat 850 engine originally, so not huge power, but what it lacked in brute force, it made up in agility and uniqueness. The Yeti was never a commercial hit. They made very few of them. It remained more prototype than mass production. Later, a firm called Samas acquired the design, swapped in a 903cc Fiat 127 engine, and relaunched it as the Samas Yeti 903. Why the Yeti matters is this. It shows how engineers dared to shrink a real off-roader, including 4WD, into compact scale. It's like giving a mountain goat in miniature form. Okay, but that's from decades ago. Let's come to something more recent and electric, the Microlino Off-Road concept. You might know Microlino as that cute little bubble EV that looks like a miniature Piaggio or tiny city car. But designers took it further. Reinforced chassis, raised suspension, off-road tires, protective framing, racks for gear. You get an off-road version of something you'd expect only on city roads. Why is that cool? Because it blends two worlds, micro-mobility and rugged terrain. It whispers to you, hey, you don't need a huge SUV to go wild. Let me carry you through dirt and streams. Then there is the Estrema Bureau. Now, this is not a Jeep, not a monster. It's really more like a micro-electric quadricycle. It's extremely compact, about 1.03 meters wide and 1.74 meters long. It uses two brushless electric motors mounted in its rear wheels, producing a total of around 4 km. While its top speed is low, it's meant for short trips rather than highway terror. Its clever design gives good stability and grip relative to its size. Yes, you won't take it over the Rockies. But in micro off-road or rugged urban terrain, it's a fascinating idea. A full four-wheeled mini EV that handles rough surfaces better than you'd expect. Now, before I go on, a teaser. The next vehicle is maybe the smallest cute tank you'll ever see, and it can kind of terrify you with how much capability fits in so little. Stay tuned. So we left off with micro EVs and Italian experiments. Now let me show you some off-road wildcards, machines that blur the line between toys, military gadgets, and experimental vehicles. One that always gets jaws dropping is the amphibious ATV. Yes, a tiny off-road machine that can also float and go through water. These ATVs often have balloon-style tires, simple drivetrains, and don't use fancy suspensions. Their buoyancy and steering come partly from their tires and differential control, skid steering. Many are 6-wheel or 8-wheel drive to better distribute weight and float. Imagine you're in a marshy area. You drive over mud, then enter a shallow lake and the same machine glides through the water. That's borderline magic in a small frame. These vehicles are used by explorers, hunters, or utility workers in remote terrain. Now here's one that might shock you. Tiger truck. This is not full military scale. It's a mini truck or micro truck class vehicle, sometimes called a K truck in Asia. Some versions are electric, some gasoline. They are small, light duty, but built tough. In rough rural areas, people use these to haul gear, supplies, tools in places where a big truck would struggle or overkill. It's not blazing through mud like a Jeep, but it's rugged for what it is. In narrow paths, rocky farms, mountain villages, such micro trucks can be lifesavers. But here's the one I promised. Delta Yeti's little sibling, or at least its spiritual cousin, the idea of micro off-road prototypes and mini-tanks. I couldn't find a widespread name for a mini-tank off-roader, but some concept designs exist, tiny tracked vehicles or wheel-track hybrids. Some experimental designs even mix drone tech or remote control. These exist in labs or small firms, not mass production. Think about it. A tracked vehicle the size of a large suitcase able to go over rubble, climb stairs, explore disaster zones. You wouldn't expect that from off-road thinking, yet engineers are toying with it. Let me share one more small legend. The Myers-Manx Dune Buggy. It's not fully 4WD, but built as a lightweight off-road recreation car, it used the VW Beetle chassis, shortened it, removed body panels, made it nimble. The result? A tiny wild buggy that wins races like the Baja 1000 against bigger cars, motorcycles, trucks. Yes, a little beast beating bigger beasts. Why this matters? Manx is proof that even without full 4WD or heavy frames, design and weight can let a micro off-roader punch above its weight. Let me pause and tease. The next ones I'll show you are not only small but so weird you'll ask, is this even a vehicle? You'll want to stay. Alright, now we go deeper into the odd side of off-road micro machines. I'm going to show you vehicles so small or so strange you'll struggle to believe they actually can go off-road. First, Peel Trident. This is a three-wheeled microcar from the 1960s. Now, it was never built as a rugged off-roader, but here's where it gets interesting. Peel Engineering revived it in modern times with electric versions. The classic version, only 73 inches long, 39 inches wide, 330 lb weight. It used a 49cc engine making about 4.2 HP. Top speed low, but economy insanely high. It's a microcar, not a Jeep. You might wonder, how is this off-road? Well, in concept or modification, people have thought to stretch or raise it, use larger tires, give better grip. It's more example of the lower bound of wheeled vehicles. It gives you the idea of how far small can go. Then there is the concept in micro off-road EV conversion. Taking microcars, city vehicles, and turning them into dirt-capable machines. The Microlino we saw earlier is one. Another example, compact hatchbacks with off-road kits, lift kits, tires. While they are not extreme, they blur the boundary. Yite. Also, think of remote inspection robots or ground drones. Those are tiny off-road machines in spirit. They roam construction sites, disaster zones, caves. They navigate rough terrain, climb rubble. Some have tracks, others wheels. These devices aren't full cars, but they are the extreme edge of micro off-road. Let me tell a mini story. Imagine a research team in a disaster zone. They send in a robot off-roader, tiny, remote, with cameras and sensors. It crawls over debris, passes through gaps humans cannot. That little machine is doing what off-road vehicles do, traverse difficult terrain. The difference is it's tiny. Another side note, micro-electric vehicles, quadricyles in European cities sometimes get special off-road variants. Small road-legal machines with slight raising, rugged tires. They don't roar, but they soldier on. Here's a fun fact. Many off-road toy models, RC crawlers, are scaled down but replicate capabilities. Articulation, wheel torque, crawling ability. They show us in miniature what full vehicles do. As I bring you closer to the conclusion, the boundary between vehicle and machine blurs. These tiniest off-roaders are both vehicles and experiments.